Hello and welcome. I've not done one of these for a while. In fact, I've only ever done one probably about a year ago, and I thought I'd try this new software out that I'm playing with. It's a freebie. The planetarium software isn't, by the way. I mean, this is Starry Night College Pro 6 that I'm using, which was kindly donated by Starry Night to sort of help the Online Astronomy Society Academy out with a few projects. I thought it'd be nice if we used their software and a bit of advertising for them and for us in return. Anyhow, this is the how the sky would appear at about sort of 10 to 6 there from Northampton, which is where I live. And as you can see, the celebrated winter constellations are still gradually rising. So we kind of got the crossover between the sort of summery constellation sort of setting, and you've got the winter ones rising. So it's probably certainly worth coming up to this neck of the woods here if we go west into the sky. These are just about to set. You got up here, you got Cygnus to Swan, which I'll probably go and get my pen and have a bit of a play. There we are. So you got Cygnus to Swan here, which is often called the Northern Cross. And if I could draw that just about with my mouse. So there it is there. And sort of not very far from for the tail end of the northern the Swan there. You've got a very nice nebula there, which is the Dumbbell Nebula M27, which is, if you've got yourself a small telescope, you should be able to just about make that out as a bit of a fudge. I've taken a few images of it. Quite a nice object. Certainly if you're just getting into astrophotography, that is a reasonable object to go for. I mean, there's an even nicer one that'll be rising if you can hang out there in the freezing cold for an hour or so. But that is certainly worth the punt there. The Dumbbell Nebula M27. You can just literally star hop straight off from the tail end star there to it. A bit further along, let's just put my pen back and get rid of this rubbish now. It doesn't stay locked, it sort of moves and remains on the actual screen itself, that. And then come across here to the square Pegasus, which is slap bang in the south. This is where you want to be looking. This is the southern sky, and Pegasus is really quite high up, as you can see. So the square Pegasus, well, here it is. Oh. I'm using a mouse for this, and it kind of needs a mouse. Let me try that again. That is a bit messy. And let's get something to put my mouse on. Hopefully it'll control a bit better. It's an optical mouse, and it's trying to guide over a glass table. Not the recommended. So anyhow, this is it. Square Pegasus. Yeah, it's a bit better. Need a graphics tab ideally. Donations, please, so I can afford to buy one. So there's a square Pegasus there, and that is quite easy to spot in the southern sky. So at about 10 to 6, reasonable time to pop out. You may be just coming from work at that time. Good time to pop out with the kids and a pair of binoculars. And if you've got decent conditions, then a couple of things certainly worth taking a look at here is if you go across to the square Pegasus, then follow all the way down and then up. There is a nice globular star cluster around about there. M15. That'd be quite a nice cluster to catch in a small telescope or a pair of binoculars if the conditions are dark enough. And if you can see that, then why not pop all the way back along to the square Pegasus and then follow up, boing, 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 and across the way to there, bit of star hopping. You've got the Andromeda Galaxy M31, which would be nice if I had a couple of pictures here to show you, but I'm just doing a kind of a pilot here just to see how this goes. But that's the furthest object visible to the naked eye. It's the Andromeda Spiral. It'll appear as a faint smudge in a pair of binoculars, and not much more resolved than that for a small telescope. It'll take far bigger telescopes to show any more structure than that, and this is a prime target for astrophotographers, that one, because when you do get a decent exposure, you start to see the spiral arms. But nevertheless, if you're just taking a look, just want to see a galaxy, then that one there, and it's still quite reasonably easy to see in light polluted areas as well. You've got to know what you're looking for though, but if you just scan up that area with a pair of binoculars, nothing sort of larger than a pair of 7 by 50s or 10 by 50s, and then you should be able to make out that galaxy there. And if it's, if you're up that neck of the woods and it's reasonably dark, then why not pop down to the triangulum spiral down here? That's a face-on spiral that's just sort of off the triangulum spiral, which is here. The triangulum constellation, sorry. That's the triangulum spiral galaxy that we've got there. And that's a face-on galaxy about the same sort of angular area as the full moon itself. And through a pair of binoculars, you probably don't need, you need to be in reasonably dark skies for that. So if you can avoid the light pollution, and that's an object to go for. But if, like me, you're stuck in the light polluted suburbs, then nip over to this one here, the Pleiades. Always well worth a look, the Pleiades. You can see it as little smudge with the naked eye. A pair of binoculars shows it up well, and what that is that's actually a star cluster that's been left over from a star that died, left gas behind, and these stars are brand new and have formed from it. The gas, though, even though it looks really beautiful, I have been reliably informed, is not actually part of the cluster itself. The dust actually lies somewhere in between us and the cluster. That the actual nebulosity actually left the actual cluster, millions of years ago. But still worth taking a look at, and the dust cloud, even though it's not part of the cluster, still complements it nicely. So if we just clear up our heavens a bit, get rid of some space pollution that I've put here, and then maybe we can roll on the clock a little bit, because if it's the weekend, then why not? You can probably go in for a cuppa and let the heavens rotate a bit, have your dinner, and by the time you probably about 9 o'clock, up she comes. There's the constellation of Orion. So there's the Pleiades that we just saw, and there is the square of Pegasus we were looking at. So just coming a bit further down, can't really talk about this neck of the woods without popping in to look at Orion. And here it is, Orion the Hunter, and you can see the famous structure there. There's Betelgeuse up there, and that star there, Betelgeuse, is actually a red giant, which is in the process of dying. It's probably already dead. I believe it's about 500 light years away, that star, and it would swallow our solar system up to about the orbit of Mars. So it is a massive star indeed, and certainly worth taking a look at it through a pair of binoculars. You can certainly see the reddish tinge to it. When you finish looking at that one, come straight the way down, pass through the left of the belt there, and in there is probably one of the most celebrated nebulae in the night sky. It's the M42 Great Orion Nebula. Pardon me. And that nebula is it's a beauty to look at. It's fantastic in a pair of binoculars. Even with a naked eye, you can see it as a smudge. With a small telescope, you start to see structure. Not in colour, I hasten to add, as many astrophotos tend to suggest. Our eyes aren't sensitive to the colour coming from the nebula, but still very well worth taking a look at. So a few objects there for you to pop out and take a look at, if it's not too dark for you, so or too late even, sorry. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you for watching.